Today we're diving into one of the most mysterious and scandalous stories to ever come out of Hollywood's silent film era. It's a tale of privilege, ambition, betrayal, and ultimately, tragedy. William Desmond Taylor, a man whose life began in the idyllic Irish countryside, rose to the glittering heights of the entertainment industry, only to leave behind a legacy overshadowed by scandals and a murder that still remains unsolved. So, who was Taylor before the fame and the headlines? Let's take a journey through his fascinating life, starting with his childhood. William Desmond Taylor, originally born as William Cunningham Dean Tanner on April 26, 1872, in the small town of Carlow, Ireland, came into the world with every advantage life could offer at the time. Imagine being born into a family that was not only wealthy, but also highly respected. Taylor was the third of 5 kids in a household that embodied privilege. As a child, young William's life was split between their family home in Carlow and their posh Dublin properties. Dublin at the time was a bustling hub of culture and politics, and William's childhood likely came with exposure to both luxury and the expectations that came with it. But despite all the privilege, young William's story was far from typical. From an early age, Taylor had a restless curiosity and a natural charisma. But he was also under the shadow of high expectations. His father, a strict military man, probably had dreams of his son following in his footsteps. When William reached his teenage years, his father decided it was time for him to start thinking about a serious career, preferably in the military. But when William attempted to join the British Army, he failed the entrance exams. For a family with a proud military tradition, this must have been a serious blow, especially to his father's pride. William Desmond Taylor's childhood, shaped by privilege and high expectations, unfolded within a household that was as complex as it was influential. While his early years were defined by exposure to both luxury and the rigid standards imposed by his father, the dynamics within the Taylor family played a pivotal role in shaping his character. The Taylor household was a tapestry of contrasting personalities, each family member playing a role that influenced young William's path in life. His father, Major Thomas Kearns Dean Tanner, was a man of discipline and structure. A retired British Army officer, Major Dean Tanner, instilled a strict sense of duty and order in the household. His military career had earned him respect in Carlow and Dublin, but it also meant he approached parenting with the rigidity of a commanding officer. William's mother, Jane O'Brien, on the other hand, brought warmth and a touch of culture to the family. A woman of Irish roots, she valued art, music, and literature, creating a balance to her husband's militaristic demeanor. The Dean Tanner children grew up in an environment where privilege met high expectations. William had 2 older siblings who often bore the brunt of their father's ambition, paving the way for him to explore his own interests with slightly less scrutiny. His younger brother and sister, however, looked up to William's charisma and boundless curiosity, often shadowing his adventures. While his father envisioned a future for William in the military, his mother subtly encouraged his more creative pursuits. Jane likely saw in William a spark that went beyond conformity, a spark that would later define his career and life choices. The family's wealth provided access to the finest education and opportunities, but it also came with a price: immense pressure to uphold their standing. The failure of William's attempt to join the British Army wasn't merely a personal setback, it was a source of tension within the family. His father viewed it as a crack in the legacy of their name, while his mother likely saw it as a chance for William to forge his own path. William's relationship with his siblings was equally layered. His eldest brother Thomas followed their father's footsteps into the military, embodying the discipline and expectations that William often rebelled against. His older sister, Margaret, was a socialite in the making, deeply immersed in Dublin's elite circles. William's younger brother, Dennis, shared his restless energy and creative inclinations, often acting as his closest ally during their mischievous escapades. His youngest sibling, Catherine, was the quiet observer, soaking in the dynamics of the family while cultivating her own aspirations. The dynamic and layered relationships within the Taylor family not only shaped William Desmond Taylor's early years, but also set the stage for the complexities that would define his adult life. His upbringing, steeped in privilege and marked by the contrast between his father's rigid expectations and his mother's nurturing support, cultivated both his ambition and his restlessness. These traits followed him into adulthood, influencing his choices and relationships, including his ill-fated marriage to Ethel May Hamilton. William Desmond Taylor's brief marriage to Ethel May Hamilton began as a picture-perfect union but quickly unraveled, revealing cracks in their relationship that would ultimately lead to Taylor's mysterious disappearance and their eventual divorce. Ethel May Hamilton was a prominent stage actress and the daughter of a wealthy New York stockbroker. When she and Taylor married in 1901, their union appeared ideal on the surface. William's charm, refined upbringing, and ambitious nature matched well with Ethel's social standing and artistic sensibilities. Together they had a daughter, Ethel Daisy, born in 1902. From the outside, they seemed to embody the success and sophistication of the Edwardian era. However, beneath the polished exterior, their marriage was far from harmonious. Taylor struggled with the pressures of domestic life and the societal expectations placed upon him as a husband and father. By all accounts, he was restless and dissatisfied, a man who found the routine of marriage stifling. Though he initially operated a successful antique business in New York, he often felt a yearning for something greater, something undefined but far from the life he was leading. His wife Ethel remained deeply committed to her family, but Taylor's growing discontent became apparent. He began to withdraw emotionally, distancing himself from his wife and daughter. Despite Ethel's attempts to keep their marriage afloat, Taylor's dissatisfaction only deepened. By 1908, Taylor's inner turmoil reached its peak. One day, without any forewarning, he left their New York home, ostensibly for lunch, and vanished. The following day, he contacted his antique shop and requested $600, which he received via messenger. After that, Taylor disappeared without a trace, leaving behind his wife, his 6-year-old daughter, and his entire life in New York. Ethel was left to piece together her life in the wake of his sudden abandonment. The scandal of a husband walking out on his family, especially in the early 20th century, cast a shadow over her social standing. For years, she remained hopeful that William might return or at least provide an explanation for his disappearance. However, as time passed and no word came, Ethel was forced to accept the reality that her husband was gone for good. In 1912, after 4 years of silence, Ethel took legal action to dissolve their marriage. She filed for divorce on the grounds of abandonment, a claim easily substantiated given William's complete disappearance from her and their daughters' lives. The court granted the divorce, officially ending their union. William Desmond Taylor's foray into Hollywood marked the beginning of a meteoric rise in the early days of the film industry. After leaving behind his life in New York, Taylor reinvented himself in every sense, and the bustling, opportunity-filled world of silent films in Hollywood became his proving ground. By 1912, the motion picture industry was experiencing rapid growth, and Taylor's arrival in Hollywood coincided perfectly with this golden era. Initially, Taylor began as an actor, captivating audiences with his commanding presence and natural charisma. His early roles often showcased his ability to embody strong, heroic characters, culminating in his breakthrough performance as the title character in Captain Alvarez, 1914. The film, a romantic adventure, became a commercial success and established Taylor as a leading man. Despite his success as an actor, Taylor's creative ambitions pushed him toward directing. Hollywood in the 1910s was an evolving landscape, and Taylor recognized the opportunity to shape stories behind the camera. His first directorial efforts were met with praise, and he quickly gained a reputation for his attention to detail and ability to draw nuanced performances from actors. One of Taylor's most notable directorial achievements came with Tom Sawyer, 1917, and its sequel, Huckleberry Finn, 1920. These adaptations of Mark Twain's beloved novels showcased Taylor's skill in balancing humor, drama, and the charm of childhood adventure. His direction brought the characters to life in a way that resonated with audiences, solidifying his status as a filmmaker with a unique vision. Taylor's ability to handle a variety of genres further elevated his career. From heartwarming dramas to adventurous tales, he worked on films that appealed to both critics and audiences. His collaborations with Hollywood stars like Dustin Farnham, Mary Pickford, and Constance Talmadge underscored his growing influence in the industry. Taylor's directorial style was characterized by elegance and precision. He had an eye for composition and was known for his ability to create visually stunning scenes that enhanced the emotional depth of the narrative. His films often featured strong characters navigating complex moral dilemmas, reflecting Taylor's own interest in stories of redemption and transformation. Taylor's background in theater also influenced his work. He had a knack for coaching actors, helping them deliver performances that felt authentic and layered. This skill, combined with his meticulous approach to storytelling, earned him respect among his peers. By the late 1910s, Taylor was considered one of the most accomplished directors in Hollywood, with a reputation for professionalism and artistry. Even as Taylor's star rose, he maintained an air of mystery. He was a man who carefully guarded his private life, which only added to his allure in a town obsessed with celebrity. Few people knew about his past life in New York, his failed marriage, or the family he had left behind. Taylor's ability to reinvent himself and thrive in Hollywood's cutthroat environment was a testament to his resilience and adaptability. By the early 1920s, William Desmond Taylor had directed dozens of films, leaving an indelible mark on the silent film era. His work helped shape the storytelling techniques that would become standard in Hollywood. Taylor was a pioneer in using film as a medium to explore human emotion and societal issues, setting a precedent for future filmmakers. While William Desmond Taylor's professional life as an actor and director painted a picture of sophistication and artistic brilliance, his personal life was a labyrinth of intrigue and scandal. Despite Paramount Pictures' efforts to maintain his polished image, the layers of secrecy surrounding Taylor's life began to unravel after his tragic death, exposing a web of rumors, forbidden relationships, and unanswered questions. Taylor's connections to questionable activities were whispered about in Hollywood's elite circles long before his untimely end. There were persistent rumors of his involvement with opium dens in Los Angeles, a taboo topic even in the roaring 1920s. These allegations, though never substantiated, hinted at Taylor's possible entanglements with the city's underground nightlife, a stark contrast to his respectable public persona. Similarly, his secretive visits to venues rumored to cater to the LGBTQ+ community added fuel to speculation about his sexuality. At a time when homosexuality and bisexuality were deeply stigmatized, such allegations could have ruined careers and reputations, which likely prompted Paramount's public relations team to bury any trace of controversy. One of the most sensational scandals of Taylor's life involved his professional and personal connection to Mary Miles Minter, a rising star of the silent film era. Taylor directed Mary in films between 1919 and 1920, and the young actress became infatuated with him. Though Mary was 20 years old at the height of their collaboration, her youthful appearance and history as a child star made the situation especially scandalous in the public eye. Mary's feelings for Taylor were no secret. She penned passionate love letters to him, filled with declarations of devotion and longing. These letters, discovered after Taylor's death, became a media sensation. Though there was no evidence that Taylor encouraged or reciprocated her affections, the mere existence of the letters was enough to tarnish his reputation posthumously. Some speculated that Taylor had maintained a fatherly or mentor-like relationship with Mary, but others were quick to sensationalize the story, framing it as an inappropriate romance. At the heart of this controversy was Mary's mother, Charlotte Shelby, a domineering and controlling figure who often overshadowed her daughter's career. Charlotte's intense protectiveness of Mary verged on obsession, and her unpredictable temper made her a feared presence in Hollywood. It was no secret that Charlotte disapproved of Mary's infatuation with Taylor. According to rumors, Charlotte had threatened Taylor on multiple occasions, warning him to stay away from her daughter. After Taylor's murder in 1922, speculation about Charlotte's potential involvement in his death spread rapidly. Witnesses reported seeing a woman resembling Charlotte near Taylor's home on the night of the murder. Additionally, it was alleged that Charlotte owned a rare .38 caliber pistol, the same type of weapon believed to have killed Taylor. While Charlotte was never formally charged, her name remained closely linked to the case, and many believe she had both the motive and the temperament to commit the crime. Adding to the mystery, Charlotte's connections and influence in Hollywood may have helped shield her from deeper scrutiny. Taylor's life was riddled with other whispers of controversy. His abrupt disappearance from New York years earlier, abandoning his wife and child without explanation, left many to question his character. Even in Hollywood, Taylor's aloofness and tendency to keep his private life shrouded in mystery made him a figure of fascination and suspicion. William Desmond. Taylor's life was shaped not only by his professional achievements, but also by the intricate web of relationships he formed in Hollywood. From friendships with troubled stars to rumored romantic entanglements, Taylor's connections reveal a man of deep empathy, intellectual curiosity, and, at times, a penchant for controversy. Taylor's friendship with Mabel Normand, one of the silent era's most famous actresses, was one of the most significant and scrutinized relationships in his life. Mabel, known for her comedic brilliance and vivacious personality, was also infamous for her struggles with drug addiction and her chaotic personal life. Taylor and Mabel bonded over their shared intellectual pursuits and love of literature. Taylor often lent her books and encouraged her to explore the arts beyond the confines of Hollywood's party culture. In a world where superficiality often prevailed, Taylor seemed to offer Mabel a sense of grounding and stability. Taylor reportedly urged Mabel to seek treatment for her cocaine addiction, going so far as to confront those in her social circle who enabled her destructive habits. This protective dynamic led to rumors of a romantic involvement, though both denied such claims publicly. Mabel's last visit to Taylor's home just hours before his murder added fuel to these speculations. She later became a key figure in the investigation, with her name forever linked to the tragedy, though no evidence ever implicated her in his death. Another significant relationship in Taylor's life was with George Hopkins, a respected Hollywood set designer known for his artistry and openly gay identity, a rarity in the conservative climate of the 1920s. Taylor and Hopkins reportedly shared a close bond that led to speculation of a romantic relationship. While the details of their connection remain murky, Hopkins's presence at Taylor's funeral and his public defense of Taylor's character suggest a deep loyalty. In a time when homosexuality was stigmatized and often hidden, such rumors added a layer of scandal to Taylor's legacy. Whether their relationship was purely platonic or something more, it highlighted the complexities of Taylor's private life and the challenges of navigating identity in early Hollywood. Taylor's charm and intellect made him a magnet for friendships with some of the era's biggest stars. He developed a camaraderie with Mary Pickford, Hollywood's America's sweetheart, who respected his artistic vision and professionalism. His collaborations with actors like Dustin Farnham and Constance Talmadge were marked by mutual admiration, further cementing his reputation as a director who deeply understood his craft and the people he worked with. Taylor also maintained ties with powerful figures in the industry, including Adolph Zukor, the founder of Paramount Pictures. These connections not only advanced his career but also gave him a foothold in the inner workings of Hollywood, where influence often dictated success. On the morning of February 2, 1922, the quiet neighborhood of Alvarado Street in Los Angeles awoke to chaos. Inside his modest yet elegant bungalow, William Desmond Taylor was found dead, lying fully clothed on the floor of his living room. He had been shot once in the back with a .38 caliber revolver, likely as he turned to greet his killer. The scene was strangely composed. There were no immediate signs of a struggle, and Taylor's body showed no indication that he had been expecting violence. The murder shocked the burgeoning Hollywood community. Taylor was not just a prominent director. He was a man admired for his artistry and professionalism, making his violent death all the more unsettling. The last known person to see Taylor alive was actress Mabel Normand. She had visited Taylor at his bungalow that evening to pick up a book he had recommended. The two reportedly spent time discussing literature and her ongoing efforts to overcome her cocaine addiction, with Taylor continuing to encourage her sobriety. According to Mabel, she left the house around 7:45 p.m. Witnesses later reported hearing a loud noise, possibly a gunshot, around 8 p.m., but it was dismissed as a car backfiring. The next morning, Taylor's valet, Henry Peavy, discovered the body and called the police. It was initially assumed that Taylor had died of natural causes, possibly a heart attack, until the coroner uncovered the fatal gunshot wound. From the outset, the investigation into Taylor's murder was plagued by mismanagement, corruption, and conflicting accounts. Paramount Pictures, eager to protect its image and avoid scandal, dispatched representatives to Taylor's home before the police arrived. These studio executives reportedly removed letters, photographs, and other potentially incriminating evidence. This interference not only hampered the investigation, but also fueled public suspicion that Hollywood was hiding something. As detectives began piecing together Taylor's life, they uncovered a web of secrets and scandals that turned the case into a media sensation. The press, eager to capitalize on the public's fascination, painted Taylor's death as a dark morality tale about the excesses of Hollywood. The list of suspects quickly grew, encompassing a mix of people from Taylor's personal and professional life, each with a potential motive for murder. 1. Mabel Normand. Though she was the last person to see Taylor alive, Mabel was never seriously considered a suspect. However, her connection to the case brought unwelcome scrutiny to her troubled personal life, particularly her struggles with addiction and her rumored reliance on Taylor for emotional support. 2. Mary Miles Minter and Charlotte Shelby. Mary Miles Minter, the young actress infatuated with Taylor, became a central figure in the scandal. Love letters from Mary to Taylor were discovered and leaked to the press, fueling speculation of a romantic relationship. Mary's mother, Charlotte Shelby, was also implicated. Known for her fierce temper and possessiveness over Mary, Charlotte allegedly threatened Taylor and owned a rare .38 caliber pistol. Although circumstantial evidence pointed to her involvement, Charlotte was never formally charged. 3. Edward Sands. Taylor's former valet, Edward Sands, emerged as another prime suspect. Sands had a history of theft and forgery, having stolen from Taylor before disappearing. Some speculated that Sands returned to settle a score, but no concrete evidence ever linked him to the crime. 4th, drug dealers. Taylor's efforts to protect Mabel from her drug suppliers placed him in dangerous territory. It was rumored that he had angered powerful figures in Los Angeles' illegal drug trade, possibly making him a target for retribution. 5. Margaret Gibson. Decades later in 1964, actress Margaret Gibson, who had worked with Taylor during his early acting days, allegedly confessed to his murder on her deathbed. However, no evidence corroborated her claim, and the circumstances of her confession remain murky. Despite the exhaustive investigation, Taylor's murder was never solved, leaving behind more questions than answers. The case became one of the first major Hollywood scandals, highlighting the darker side of the entertainment industry at a time when its stars were idolized by the public. The scandal had far-reaching consequences. Public outrage over the perceived immorality of Hollywood, exacerbated by Taylor's murder and other scandals of the era, led to calls for greater oversight. This ultimately contributed to the establishment of the Hays Code in 1930. A set of moral guilt. William Desmond Taylor's life was a mix of brilliance and complexity, filled with personal struggles, creative triumphs, and the dark allure of scandal. Though his murder may never be solved, his story continues to captivate us as a reminder of Hollywood's golden age and its hidden shadows. What do you think about this unsolved mystery? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating tales from history's most intriguing figures.